All right. I'm going to try and follow a little bit of advice that I think I gleaned from Patsy Rudenberg's The Need for Words when she comes to talking about preparing your speeches, which is speak first, don't write. Speak out what you're going to say because that will give you an idea of exactly how much you are actually going to deliver in a speech, and also perhaps what's the core things that you want to get across. So I am going to talk about not Colette, Judith Thurman's book, The Secrets of the Flsh, A Life of Colette, where this American, I think New Yorker, our author, uh, goes gives you a life, from birth to death view of Colette. Um, to do that Colette. Um, she is known only by her one. See, I'm already rambling. What would I want to try and get across in a review? I'm gonna try not to go through all the little minute little details on Colette's life, because that way leads to a 30-minute snooze fest. Rather, I want to talk about how Judith Thurman really masterfully uh, comes up with a very complex and nuanced life of this amazing French writer who I've only read in translation, and I've only read probably just the beginnings of. I've only read like just one novella of hers, but um, I found myself falling into just getting more and more details about her, and picked up this book and was really fascinated by it. Um, and one of the things that really makes this book fascinating is that it's not a hagiography. It's not like everything that Colette did was wonderful. Good Lord, there's a lot of stuff she didn't do that was wonderful. It embraces both the negatives and the positives of Colette. Um, it doesn't trust her. She is an author who has used her own life as her raw material. So, and she makes no claims for doing one to one comparisons in that fiction. And even in her memoirs, there's a certain amount of self mythologization that goes along, which I think is regular, but maybe is more intensely so for somebody who played imaginatively with her life. She's someone who seems to have been exploited in her youth. Her husband, her first husband Willie, was much older than her, and maybe the most positive side would be to say he kind of educated her as a writer growing up, but he also put his name on her manuscripts. He held the copyright to her first novels, the Claudine books, which were kind of smutty books, racy books at the times, with a kind of a naughty schoolgirl at the center of them. And Willie apparently, encouraged Colette to put in more salacious stuff, kind of lesbian encounters and things like that, into the book, because he knew what was going to sell, what was going to be hot that way at the beginning. Um, and it's a sign that he after Colette, they split up. He went into relative obscurity, and out of that stable of writers, she is the one who has definitely endured. Though I have to be careful about saying that. But so she went from being kind of a very submissive, kind of manipulated one younger in life, to becoming kind of the dominatrix later in life, to the extent where she ended up in a relationship starting at 16 with her with a stepson of her of stepson, which she made no apologies for, but would be just like which there's a lot of things in Colette's life that would would get her canceled today, would not, I don't know, canceled, would bring down great approbation against her today. And also in the English speaking world, there's very much a thing here of how French culture is much more still misogynistic as heck, but there's a certain thing of sexual exploits don't disqualify you from being an intellectual literary persona. It actually gives you street cred, male or female. Whereas you look at contemporaries like of someone like Virginia Woolf, you don't think of hot Virginia Woolf having love affairs and things like that. There's quiet things that are going on. But if she's for her to have actually maintained her status as a writer, she wasn't do that. She certainly wasn't going to be an actress on the stage as Colette was at various points. Um, you know, doing all sorts of things that broke the rules of society. And she's quite rebellious that way. But I'll see now. See, I'm probably getting more and more. I have to think about this. Is like, am I talking about Thurman? Am I talking about Colette? I'm going to talk about Thurman's book in this review. I need to think about it that way with examples of from Colette's life and how she depicts them. Yeah, yeah. All right. As always, this does definitely shows how difficult I find, especially with nonfiction reviews. Of I just get caught up in the subject and I just want to talk about the subject versus it's like, well, I don't really, all I know is from this book, so I should just talk about this book. Um, about, yeah, 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 and we'll see. This may be another failure, but if it's a failure, at least it'll be me working on something to try and get better at it. Even if I fail, it's like I'm trying, and I just keep on trying until at some point maybe I succeed. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I need to obviously think about this more as the book slowly kind of fades out of my mind at the same time, which is the frustrating part. All right, I will leave it there. I've been Jay babbling, which is why this is on a private channel and not on a public channel because it just doesn't do any, just not getting anywhere. All right, more videos later.